Good morning, everybody. It's great to see so many of you here, familiar faces, but also many new faces, especially the students. I think we're starting to get to the point where it's almost like a 50-50 mix, which is great. My name is Anja Fourie. I'm the Deputy Director for Education and Workforce Development within SpectrumX. And in my other life, I'm the Project Director for Broader Impacts at the National Radio Astronomy Observatory. It gives me really great pleasure today to give an opportunity to our SpectrumX students to tell you about their experiences at SpectrumX, and what they've learned through engaging with SpectrumX, and perhaps to provide some advice to other students, those joining us online or watching this recording later. And just for your information, in addition to the students here, we also have students from the communities within Wisconsin or Madison, Wisconsin, joining us today online. So you heard from our student leadership this morning. We're just making sure we're sharing everything. Thank you. Thanks, Nick. You heard this morning, from our leadership how, we have this challenge for workforce development. You've heard the word students, often, and also really how important they are with regards to, the future of spectrum and spectrum management. But very seldom have we actually given them the opportunity to talk to us and to hear their voices. And, if there's one thing we learn, all of you who are in this in project management, is to always check in with your end users. So that's what we're going to do this morning. So just to introduce you to your panelists briefly, we have Sebastian Pirela from Purdue University, who has participated in our REU program as well as our summer school. In the middle third from my left, we have Margarita, Blandon, Salazar from University of Puerto Rico, Mayagüez, who currently forms part of the flagship Projects 1 research group, but has also, she's been engaged with SpectrumX for a long time in different capacities, also helped co-facilitate the summer school in Puerto Rico this year. Anas Saleh from Lamar University in Texas, who also this year participated in the REU and the summer school. And then Makayla Kienlen from UC Santa Cruz, who participated in our REU this year. So the format for today is really that I'm going to give them an opportunity to just very quickly introduce themselves, how they heard about SpectrumX, how they've been involved, and what impact that has had. And then we'll move into the panel discussion after that. So I'm going to call on Sebastian first. If you could come up for me. You may have to do the blackboard thing. There we go, and just right into.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Sebastian Pirela. I'm a junior studying electrical engineering at Purdue University. I'm originally from South Bend, Indiana, so not too far from home for everyone that's coming here from Notre Dame. I'm a first-generation college student, so growing up, college wasn't something that was expected of me. And engineering wasn't something that I was set on from a young age, as I didn't really know any engineers growing up. As you can see from some of my hobbies, I'm very into sports. I like dancing, and a fun fact about me is that when I was little, I wanted to be a chef. Yeah. So I'm very fascinated about wireless communication and technology and how it keeps people connected. And something that I've learned from the SpectrumX RU that I was a part of and through the SpectrumX summer school is how important some of the non-engineering aspects like policy or economics are, how important they are to creating the technology that is moving us forward. And it's something that in my classes, studying electrical engineering is not really taught. We're all focused about all these technical aspects, but it's something that through SpectrumX I've learned a lot about, and it's something that I'm really interested in. And the photo on the left shows Dr. Lanneman and the RU students at Notre Dame when I did it 2 summers ago. And then the photo on the right is a picture of me at the NRAO summer school. So my journey into Spectrum, first into how I chose my major. As I went through school, I realized that I really liked math, I liked problem solving, And so engineering kind of made sense. And I picked electrical engineering because one of my teachers told me that you have to use your imagination. You have to, compared to some of the other engineering disciplines, like electromagnetic waves is something that you can't really see. You have to really imagine that to have the intuition compared to some others where you can really see what's going on, which I thought was fascinating, and I wanted to do that. My first exposure into the radio spectrum was after my freshman year. I got the SpectrumX RU, and I learned about radios, antennas, spectrum policy, things like that, and I fell in love with it. This picture on the left I really like. It shows kind of the measurement setup that we used during the RU, and if you are familiar with Notre Dame, in the background you can see the Golden Dome, so I think that picture is really cool. The picture on the right, it was my first electrical engineering lab, and we used a oscilloscope for the first time. Thought it was super cool, so I wanted to take a picture. Yeah. So since then, I've been working on some research and design projects, and specifically, I wanted to talk about one of the projects I did last semester with the Purdue IEEE Microwave Theory and Technology Society student chapter, where we designed a 26 gigahertz passive phased array radar system for automotive presence detection. And something I'm really proud about this project because we only had 13 students, all undergrads, and we didn't even have last year we didn't even have a faculty mentor. So I'm really proud we got to design and build this project. During my REU, it was my first time like dealing with research, like learning from Dr. Lanneman and his graduate students, Omkar and Bingyan. I learned a lot from them, was able to ask a lot of questions of them. And it was a great experience to be able to present my findings at a summer symposium and be able to like talk about my all these technical aspects that I learned in a non-technical way. These are some pictures of me at the symposium on the sides, and in the middle is the measurement setup that we used during the RU. And then this past summer, I attended the SpectrumX summer school, where we learned about telecommunications and spectrum sharing, and we learned from different uses of spectrum from government and academia and industry, and it was a great experience. I learned a lot, and as you guys can tell, I'm really interested in this field as a whole, and I hope that for the future I can continue learning, building, and working on projects that keep us connected. Thank you.
And if you want to get in touch with Sebastian, he's willing to share his contact details if you want to find out more about his experiences. Next, I'm going to call up Margarita Blandon Salazar from Puerto Rico, Mayagüez, where she is currently a PhD student. And just while Margarita comes up, just to say that there are in fact videos of the 2024 REUs at Notre Dame communicating their work. Are they currently on YouTube, or the short snippets that they did? Can you remember? They're on. Never mind.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. My name is Margarita Blandon. I am a PhD student in electrical engineering at the University of the Puerto Rico, campus Mayagüez. My journey in microwaves started when I decided to continue my studies and pursue a master's degree. In Colombia, I didn't had many open doors. At the time, I'm working as teacher, electrical and electronic in course in a school located in area limits. Results a difficult condition adult to violence in Bogota. This is my students. Okay. In 2021, I had the opportunity to be accepted at the University of Puerto Rico. I feel discouraged I beat all the star again, especially after difficult time caused by COVID-19. But I packed my bags, I left my job, I said goodbye to my family. I began study full of hope. During my master, I needed advisor, and in summer 2023, I met Dr. Rafael Rodriguez Solis. He introduced me to the world of radio frequency antenna design and connect me with SpectrumX. Through this group, I learned about different areas in this file surrounded by professors and graduate students who is parent to grow. Okay, sorry. Okay, I had two passions in my life in this moment. The first passion is I love collecting enigmas. For example, one you see in the picture is calling Joy, created by the Ticunas, indigenous people from Amazonas, Colombian Amazon. The Ticunas are now guardians of the Amazonas rainforest. One loves our planet. My second passion is volunteering in programs that support girls and young people or young students in STEAM careers, because I know from experience that this path can be lonely and challenging. Okay. My first stage on fireware and the start decay concepts that became my foundation. The first concept very important for me is impedance. The second is mutual. Third concept, reflection confidence, and finally antenna designs. These ideas were like invitation card to explore more complex topics. Thank you to SpectrumX, I was able to complete my master's degree. I developed my thesis focus on the implementation of octave and bandwidth dual fusion phase array operating between 2 and 4 gigahertz. I had opportunity to participate in Spectrum with a meeting of researchers for different areas of the radio spectrum science. There I meet Dr. Laila Marsal. I connected with Dr. Soya Popovich from the University of the Colorado Boulder when I completed research internship in 2023. In summer 2024, I presented my research at the IEEE International Symposium of the Antenna Propagation in Italy. Okay, my conclusion about my experience with Spectrum showed me that there is a place for women in engineering, a place where we can lead, innovating, and inspiring. My future goal is continuing to research and one day become professor in this field. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Margarita. And there are Margarita's contact details. Next, over to Anas, who I had the privilege of getting to know over the summer as he was at UVA. And he is from Lamar University in Texas.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Anas Saleh. I'm an electrical engineering student at Lamar University in Texas. So actually, this is my third year in Lamar University, so I'm considered as junior at Lamar. I born in Jordan back in 2003. I lived most of my life in Jordan and Saudi Arabia. So like first and second grade at Jordan, then I moved with my family to Saudi Arabia since my dad got a job offer from Saudi Arabia. He worked as a specialist doctor there. I moved to United States after I graduated from high school back in 2021, in which I started my journey with electrical engineering. So some of the things I love to do in my free time is like playing soccer, also video games, and I love to travel a lot. I went to many countries around the world and different states around the United States. Yeah, some of the things about me is I'm actually the treasurer of IEEE at Lamar University, also a member of EWP, which is Engineers Without Borders, member of AIAA, which is American Institute of Aeronautics and Econautics. So some of the things I did after SpectrumX, which actually helped me a lot at Lamar, is I was able to, me and my friend Fabian, he's a picture of Fabian, were able to do a workshop in PCB designing using KiCad and soldering. So Fabian is a great person. He's a senior studying electrical engineering, and he wanted to do like electronics engineering after he graduate. So it was a great moment. It was last September. Also in IEEE, we have two big events that we host every year. The first one is the volleyball tournament. It's going to be next November 9th. And the second one is the softball tournament, which is in the mid of March. Okay, now I'm going to talk about my journey with Spectrum. But before that, I guess the hardest question you can ask any student is, why did you choose your major? And for me, I chose electrical engineering on last year of high school. I took around 4 physics classes in high school, and the last one was about the circuits and circuits analysis. And I found this major is good, so I chose to electrical engineering. I started at LIT, which is like a small community college called Lamar Institute of Technology. Then I transferred to Lamar University, so I didn't start directly at Lamar. I learned about SpectrumX from my professor at Lamar University. He encouraged me to apply for SpectrumX, so I applied last February, and I got the offer last April. Was a very great moment when I received the email from Miss Anja, telling me that I've been accepted. So thank you for SpectrumX, and thank you for Miss Anja for this opportunity. I joined the SpectrumX at the University of Virginia, in which me and my partner, I don't know if he's here yet, Nevan Marakji, were able to design a switchable pre-selector bank of SAW filters with the help of Dr. Scott Parker and Dr. Chris Moore and Mr. Lewis. So we were able to design a switchable pre-selector bank of SAW filters using KiCad. So these experiences helped me to develop skills in KiCad and soldering, in which make me do a lot of things and share my knowledge at Lamar University, as I told you, with a workshop that I did. Also, I want to share something else with you. So after SpectrumX, when we started this semester, I talked to my electromagnetics professor about what I did at Spectrum, and he was very excited. He told me that I can do another research with him. So I'm going to do another undergraduate research in 5G phase array antenna. It's going to be next spring. Okay, yeah, another thing is I joined the 2025 summer school at University at Albany in New York. It was a great moment. I learned about wireless communication and spectrum regulations. So thank you for University of Albany, and thank you for Miss Maria for this experience. Last thing I want to share with you, after all these experiences, I was able to develop a lot of skills using from SpectrumX, like soldering, the SMD and through-hole components, also PCB designing using KiCad. I was able to use the vector network analyzer, the VNA, at University of Virginia, conduct measurements and how many of these signals actually transmitted and reflected. From the summer school, I was able to understand the spectrum policies and spectrum regulations And I think at the end, I was inspired by all these experiences. I want to pursue like RF engineering career path after I graduate from high school. So here is my email address. If you have any question, or if you want to send me an email, feel free to do that. I'm happy to answer your questions. Thank you so much.
And thank you also very much to Scott and the team at UVA for hosting us, and Ivan as well, and also to Nick and the team at Notre Dame for hosting Sebastian. And our next speaker, Makayla Kienlen, who is from the University of California, Santa Cruz, and other than the UCLA people, I think has flown the furthest.
Hi everyone, my name is Makayla Kienlen and I am a current junior at UC Santa Cruz. So a couple of things about me first. I'm 20 years old and I'm from Los Angeles, California. And I like playing video games in my free time, but only chill, relaxing ones, not like the violent ones. And a fun fact about my school is that our mascot is the banana slug, which has no natural predators. And they're all over campus. They're kind of cute, kind of gross. And you have to be careful not to step on them because that would be very bad luck. So there's a picture of me on the campus. You can't really tell, but our school is in the middle of the forest. So I am a current double major in applied mathematics and also computer engineering. And I was interested in coding and technology and math from a pretty young age. I was introduced to it. In my elementary school, there was a program and we learned Scratch on tablets. And in 8th grade, I also did a speech on Twitter robots. So those were some young moments for me. And I started out getting into Spectrum first in my studies. So I started out as an applied math major going into university. And it really appealed to me in its broadness. I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, but I know I like math and problem solving. And everyone that I know that did major in applied math was doing different careers. So I thought it would be a good place to start. And then last year in my second year of university, I decided that I wanted to take some computer engineering courses because they really interested me. And I wanted to apply the math even more. And I want to work on hands-on projects that weren't just pushing numbers and looking at MATLAB graphs all day. And so my journey into Spectrum continued. So I did a Breakthrough Tech AI program last year, and the course was really good. So we were able to take an online course through Cornell that introduced me to machine learning and all of its different applications in many fields. And then I worked on projects during the fall and spring semester with other students around the country virtually and with company sponsors. And it really showed me how AI could be used everywhere and anywhere. And so my first introduction to radio spectrum, besides learning it in middle school or high school, was actually at Notre Dame, where I worked with Dr. Lanneman and his PhD student Blandon on her project that incorporates AI and spectrum data. So that really continued from my Breakthrough Tech days. And so when I finally, but I heard about SpectrumX's REU through my school's newsletter. I didn't hear about it from a professor or anything, but I just read about it and it looked really interesting and like a cool opportunity. So I decided to apply. It was kind of a last minute thing. I think I heard about it only a few weeks before the application closed, so I rushed to complete it a little bit. But then I started it in May, and I actually started it virtually. So I had meetings with Dr. Lanneman and Blandon on Zoom every day because my school ended in mid-June. So in mid-June, I was able to come to Notre Dame campus and continue my work. And again, I worked with Blandon on her project Spectrum RAG. So my engagement with SpectrumX and the REU was very positive. I think one of the main things I got out of the REU was it was like pretending to be a grad student for a few months. And one of my favorite parts was sitting in on Dr. Lanneman's meetings with his grad students, because I got to hear about Young Kai and Bingyan and Omkar's research. And I didn't understand most of it, but it was still cool to be exposed to all of that. And I also, one thing that was very pushed was learning how to present your research. And I had to talk about my research informally to my friends and family, because they were all asking what I was doing in Indiana. And also in more formal contexts, like I presented my research at the undergraduate symposium, and just a bunch of other students who were presenting their research, they came and asked me questions. And I also got to look at other students' research. And I met students from around the world who were at the symposium, like Panama, Puerto Rico, and across the US too. And I also presented in the undergraduate 3-minute thesis competition, and I made it to the finals, which was very exciting. And it was a little nerve-wracking because I don't love public speaking, but I think it is a very important skill, and Dr. Lanneman definitely helped me, and all of the grad students at SpectrumX, they helped me with my presentation, so that was very nice. So again, my name was Makayla Kienlen, and thank you guys for listening.
Don't worry, Makayla, we will make a professional public speaker out of you yet. All right, so we're going to pivot now to the Q&A and discussion part of this panel. Just some instructions, panelists, you will see in front of you, there are microphones. When you speak, please just switch that on. Don't keep them on though, because otherwise apparently there's some sort of static. So I will remind you, don't worry if you haven't switched them on. If there are questions from the audience here, please wait for a microphone so that those joining us on Zoom can hear you as well. Again, I will make you start all over if you don't have a microphone. And then if there are questions on Zoom, actually, can I ask Raphael? Can I ask you to take over mic duties from Emily? Thank you. Putting the education working group to work. Thank you, just so that Emily can come and monitor the chat. So if you are in Zoom, please just pop your questions in chat, and Emily will interrupt me when there are. Oh, Julie's also helping with that. You guys are so jacked. All right, so I'm going to start with just some introductory questions, and then I'll open the floor, to the audience. We especially want to hear from students if you have burning questions that you want to ask, but faculty, I also urge you to listen. I think this is a great way, to sort of really hear what students have to say, and perhaps change a few things that you do or know that you're on the right path. So also faculty, please feel free to ask questions of the panelists as well. So panelists, and this is a question for all four of you, 2 parts. You did allude to this in your presentations, but if you can just remind us, how did you hear about the SpectrumX opportunities, in which you were involved? That's the first part, just a quick reminder. And then secondly, for the students who want to do REUs but don't know where to look for opportunities, or students who have done REUs and want other opportunities, where would you encourage them to find those opportunities? What sort of communication sources do you use? What networks do you use? I'm going to start with Anas and then work this way. I have no idea.
Hello?
There we go. It's working.
Yeah, so I've heard about SpectrumX, as I said, from my professor at Lamar University. He told me about the opportunity back on January. So he encouraged me to apply for Spectrum for REU. I applied, as I said, last February, and I received the offer on April. And for the second part of the question, I'm gonna say try to join as much as possible, for student organizations, because I'm very active right now with the student organization. I know about all the career fairs or all the info sessions about the companies. So I guess connection is going to be like from student organizations.
Thank you. Margarita?
Okay, I think it's very important how a graduate student or a student in general try open a conversation with a community, for example, teachers, professors, circle friends for to have support in your life university, because maybe the way a student maybe is alone is for example is for this is reason you had a good circle, a community, you get support in your process about education or your process in university.
Makayla, just check that the mic is on. There we go.
Okay. Yeah, I heard about the RU through my college's newsletter. And I actually heard about also the AI program I did through my college's newsletter. So I would just say, if you see an opportunity that seems the slightest bit interesting, it's good to just apply, because why not? And also another thing, go to office hours for your professors, because they have a lot of wisdom to share, and also your TAs too, because they're grad students, and if you want to do grad school, that's definitely a good opportunity.
Sebastian?
I, being from South Bend, as I talked about earlier, after my freshman year, I wanted to be close to home over the summer. So being so close to Notre Dame, I applied to every REU that they offered, and luckily I got SpectrumX, and I really enjoyed it. And I'd say for some advice is be open to new opportunities. You never know when you might try something and it might you might really enjoy it. It might impact what you want to do for your career. And really, and once you get those opportunities, really throw yourself at it and learn as much as you can.
All right, thank you very much. All right, so just moving on with the REU theme, and here I'm going to go to Sebastian, Makayla, and Anas. Short answers. What advice do you have for undergraduates when preparing their REU applications? Starting with you, Sebastian.
I'd say, no, thank you. I'd say make sure to prepare your materials early, especially letters of recommendation. Know which professors you want to ask, and yeah, just start early, I'd say.
Yeah, when I was applying, I looked on Reddit for REU applications, and that was kind of helpful because I didn't know what the REU application was looking for, but there are resources online and people share their experiences, how they got in. And also, yeah, I agree, the letters of rec, try to get them as soon as possible and give your people lots of time.
Okay, Anas?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I would say, like, as Sebastian said, like, try to apply early, try to prepare early. And if you've been accepted at REU, try to read about the research in advance before you start, so you can have like some information about the research you're gonna do.
Okay, thank you very much. And just two things. Firstly, we know if you did it the night before, we can tell. But also, secondly, you know, I really want to just encourage students, especially those of you who are thinking of the REU or, you know, working with REU students. In this year's REU cycle, we will actually be doing a workshop on REU applications before the SpectrumX REU applications close. So look out for that. Margarita, in speaking to Raphael, you know, one of the things that I asked him was what really stood out for him in your graduate school application. And he mentioned your essay. What advice would you give students applying to graduate school about that essay?
Oh my God. In my opinion, it's very important you try all time. There are moments where you don't understand nothing, but it's important you process step by step. Other way is important in your process and is select good advice. I don't have tips in this moment for select good advice, but for me, I think it's very important have good conversation or good communication with your advice. You had a good feeling with your advice for advancing your research.
Okay, great, thank you. Are there any questions from the audience at this moment? From our students? Frank here in the front.
So I have a very simple question, which is, what are their career goals? Where do they want to be down the road? We didn't, a few of you alluded to that, but we didn't actually hear that.
That's the last question.
The other thing I'll say for applications is I have been reading REUs for MIT Haystack for 26 years now, almost. The essay and being specific about who you want to work with and what you want to work on, if you can be, is killer. Yeah. That grabs people. It makes the difference between candidates.
Thank you. Any other questions from the audience? We have one here. Thank you.
Hi, thank you very much for sharing your experiences. I'm curious to know when and what was that you saw that what you learned in class was matching with what you were seeing in your experience in the field, and were excited about that, you know, like between theory and practice, how that matched.
All right, so in other words, in your experiences, you know, have you experienced that what you learned during the REU, you know, finally engages sort of what you, or connects to what you've learned in class? And give us an example, you know, tell us what that is and sort of when that happened for you, if it happened. Sebastian.
Okay, so to answer the first question about my career goals, I'd say as of now, I'm pretty interested in RF engineering specifically. And the project I talked about, I worked on the antenna design of it. So antennas are pretty interesting to me. But through these last 2 years, I'm trying to like broaden my scope. So as of now, I'm interested in antennas, but we'll see in the next few years. And then for the second question about where theory meets with like the coursework, or with like the hands-on thing stuff.
Finally.
I'd say that honestly, not until this semester. I feel like the first 2 years it was very like heavily theory focused, but I feel like now some of the courses that I'm taking now, I can really see how some of the experiences that I learned from SpectrumX or from some of my other extracurriculars are really helping me out with some of these more theoretical courses. Yeah.
Okay. Who else wants to? Okay, go ahead. Okay.
Yeah, for the first question, so I'm interested in a lot of stuff, I would say, for my career. Like right now, most of my experience is with machine learning, and that's what I've done my projects on. But I'm getting more exposed to more hardware courses right now because I haven't really taken any courses in hardware. So I'm excited to explore that and see more of the engineering hardware side. And then the other question on my classes preparing me for the REU, I would say the Cornell course I took, which was really just an overview of a lot of machine learning things. It came up because I learned about large language models and all that stuff, and we did that. I did that with Bingyan and Dr. Lanneman. And I would say actually some of the things I learned at the REU are coming up right now. Like, again, I never did any hardware stuff. So coming in, I didn't know what an FPGA was, but Thomas was working with those, and now I have to do all my labs on one. So that's pretty cool.
Okay. And when she says Thomas, she's referring to Thomas Picklewave. Thomas, he's in the group with us as well. Margarita, do you want to have a go at that one? Career goals.
Oh my God. Okay, I think my process, all experiencing my field is very difficult, but I like design antennas. This is, I think, is interesting because you apply theory versus practice. Is important for me. This is two experience. You practice knowledge. You see your knowledge. Yeah, it's very for me.
And Anas. He always looks so surprised when I say Anas.
Okay, for my career goals, I think it's hard to say right now what I'm gonna do after I graduate. I tried RF engineering last summer. What I'm trying to do right now is I'm trying to try different things. So next semester next summer I'm trying to apply for power engineering, like in substation design and power transmission. So I would like to try everything before I decide which one I'm actually gonna do. But RF engineering, I think it's a cool discipline. Maybe I'm gonna pursue it in the future. And for your question is, I think it's a good question because I took electromagnetics right now. I'm taking electromagnetics right now. I wish I took electromagnetics before the SpectrumX, because when I started at SpectrumX, I didn't know anything about transmission lines and these stuff. So, but with the help of Dr. Scott Parker and other students, I was able to do it. Yeah.
Scott Pirela has a question. Nick.
Nick's over here checking his watch.
I'm still in good time. Don't you
So,
check your watch.
yeah, I really appreciate all the insights. I guess I will maybe put you a bit on the spot and ask a two-part question. So the first one is, all of you had some engagement with an RU program. So I'll ask the question, what makes a good mentor? Right? From your perspective, experiences, how would you advise the mentors to help them be better mentors? Or for people that haven't mentored, what are the things you should think about? And secondly, what did you like most about the summer school?
Okay, and I'm going to make that a three-part question. So just connecting to Scott's first half of his question, and we talked about this morning, tell us which mentor or role model has had the biggest impact in your life, and then tell us why. In other words, what made them a good mentor, and then you can answer, those of you who've attended the summer school or facilitated at the summer school, you can answer this question. We're going to start with you, Anas, this time.
So I think
I don't think it's on just
physics.
again.
Can you hear me?
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, so I think the physics teacher at high school, because he made me love physics. He was a very good teacher, so I loved physics. I was gonna do physics major before electrical engineering. Then at the end, in physics 4, I learned about the circuits and circuits analysis. So I chose to do electrical engineering. So I would say the physics teacher at my high school.
Mm-hmm. And then the other question was, what about the summer school did you enjoy most?
Oh yeah, well, it was a great opportunity. We learned about spectrum regulations, 4 days at Albany. Yeah, it was a great time. And thank you again for Dr. Maria for this opportunity and for this information.
Yeah, and in his feedback, Anas was one of the students who was like, I might actually consider this thing as a career. So, yeah. Margarita.
Okay. Okay, my advisor is Dr. Rafael Rodriguez Solis, but I had a great experience with when University of the Colorado because I know superwoman, Dr. Laila Marsala and Dr. Soya Popovich. Is great. I had good experience because I see different women in the lab. I don't have experience see a woman in the lab. In this moment in my life, I am only woman there. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Makayla, your mentor?
Yeah, so my two mentors for the REU were Dr. Landman and Binion. And what I really appreciated that they did was meet with me every single day. Like they devoted a lot of time for me, which I really appreciated because I'm sure they're very busy. But yeah, it just helped us make a connection and they answered all my questions. And there were other questions.
It was related to the summer school, which I don't think you participated in.
I liked the summer. Oh, I didn't do
you
the
didn't
summer
do the summer school.
No, but the REU, one of my favorite parts was actually just living at Notre Dame was super cool because the campus is so old. Like my campus is
old in a good way.
No, but it was so cool. They have a church that was from the 30s, and they had an art museum on campus. And actually, the whole campus is just art. So I thought that was super cool.
Their ivy is only half grown.
Okay, come on. You're going to start an inter-university fight here about I can already hear UVA.
We do have all of those if you just see.
Yeah, right. Sebastian.
Okay, so I'd say for my mentor, similar to Anas, it was one of my high school teachers, my math teacher. He, before teaching, he was a mechanical engineer, so it was one of the first engineers that I knew, and he was able to talk about that. And I'd say he was a good mentor because he really, he was someone that was easy to talk to and really listened, and was able to understand kind of what I needed, and was able to answer any and all questions I had at that time, trying to decide what I wanted to do going into college. And I also want to echo what Makayla said about Dr. Lanneman, especially for my first research experience, being able to meet on a daily basis with him and his graduate students. It was a great experience, and I really, like she said earlier, I felt kind of like a mini graduate student, being able to hear what they are doing on a daily basis. I think it's very valuable, and I say that's one of my favorite parts of that experience. As for the SpectrumX summer school, I'd say I really enjoyed learning about some of the experts in spectrum use cases that I wasn't familiar with. Specifically, there was an expert that talked about Earth sensing, which I had never known anything about, and I thought it was super interesting. And
yeah, that was Joel Johnson at OSU, and thank you also to the other experts who are here in the room, Randy, Prashant, all of those who joined us during the summer school. Any other questions, Leila? And then I'm going to go to the students at the back. Yep.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for your testimonials and your comments. So one of our goals as a center is to spread out the all of the challenges that we have with spectrum and how much the spectrum is congested. I would like to hear from you your experiences when you try to communicate what your experiences were in the RU and in the PhD, and what SpectrumX is about to other people that's outside of our bubble.
Who wants to take that one first? Stop.
If you had to do that, if you try to
I can take it.
Yeah.
So explaining it to my friends and family, I approached that by like thinking about what I knew going into it, which wasn't that much. But one of the things I had to do was read a lot of FCC proceedings, which were really confusing at first, but what helped me was that they were written by companies I knew, like Verizon. So when I explained to people what the spectrum research was about, I told them, like, your phone uses it, so it's important to your everyday life. And I told them, you know, the law is complicated, and these regulations, they're meant to make your devices work better. So I just tried to connect it to their life.
Perfect.
Answer the so what question.
Hi, I wanted to ask, Kiel, you said you read a lot of SEC proceedings, and when we read like those like articles and readings, there's a lot of definitions, concepts that are super difficult to understand. What were those kind of concepts, and how did you learn about it, and what was the most effective way learning?
So, I mean, reading the intro to the FCC proceedings from the FCC was helpful, because they kind of gave an overview over what the proceeding was going to be about. And every time I came across an acronym, I had no clue what it meant. I mean, I just Googled it. So it was a slow process at first because everything was so new, and I had to stop a lot and look things up. But then, I mean, I read them a lot, so it became easier.
Anyone else read FCC proceedings? Going once, they were like, oh, hell no. And then Maria, did you have a question, or were you pointing at someone?
I did raise
Okay.
So I was just curious, in terms of preparing your application, so you talked about getting letters of recommendation. So how do you cultivate this relationship with a person to give you a letter of recommendation for RU programs, but like anything moving forward, right? If you apply for other fellowships, grad school, you know, those are going to be, you know, potentially lifelong connections. So can you speak a little bit to the others, to help the other students, you know, learn how to cultivate these relationships with letter writers?
Okay. Anas, go for it.
So for me, like, I think the best way to get these letter, like from your professors, so try to make like connections with your professor, try to visit them in the office hours, ask them questions. If you're a good student, they're going to be happy to write the offer letter for you. I mean, the letter of recommendation for you. So I would say, like, try to make connections with your professors.
Not the day before, please.
Yeah.
All right, Margarita?
No. Okay. Yeah, it's very important, good relation with professors for me, because for example, had recommendation, letter recommendation. The professor is a process. You try plan, you speak with professor, whatever is process for me.
Okay, Makayla?
Yeah, I would say to get to know your professors better, office hours are the most important, because it's literally time they set specifically for their students. And a lot of my professors say that no one comes to their office hours sometimes, or like only before the midterms or exams. But yeah, and you don't have to talk about anything specific at office hours. Like sometimes I go, but I don't have a question necessarily, but I ask general things about the class. Or a lot of my professors, they used to work in industry, so they talk to us a lot about jobs and internships and how to get them.
I'd say also, other than office hours, which is very valuable, something you can do is just like emailing them, because you might not always be in the classes where the research that those professors are doing interests you. So if you see like on your school's website, the research that you're interested in, there is probably a professor that is doing research with that. Email them. A lot of times they're very happy to talk about their research. And if you email them, ask for like a second of their time to learn more about that, that can lead to different opportunities.
And just a quick question from me, hands up. How many of you have asked your REU mentors or advisors or someone you engaged with at the REU to write you a letter of reference? Right, don't forget that they are references too, and they've gotten to know you as well. All right, I'm going to close the Q&A session there. Panelists, I'm going to ask you to remain seated until the end of the session. But I just want to say, certainly from my side, what an absolute honor it has been. It always is for me. This is why I do what I do, is to engage with you and to watch you from when we first meet you, and to just watch your development and growth. As we engage with students, I think students really are just the most incredible human beings, most of you. So thank you very much for giving your insights and sharing those with the other students and the faculty today. Thank you.
And I want to take director's privilege. Is this mic working? Something I observed, and I want to sanity check it with you. But I think it's an important observation for you to realize, but also for everyone else in the everyone else in the room to realize. You learned a secret. I want you to sanity check this for me. You took a risk. You learned something new. You developed some new concepts and skills. You met some people and engaged in a new network. But then you also, each one of you shows leadership where you took that knowledge and those relationships back to your home institution, and you added value there. That is the secret of academic life. That applies whether you're an undergraduate, graduate student, assistant professor, postdoc, senior professor. That is the virtuous cycle that we get to enjoy as academics. So welcome to the club. Take advantage of that. It will serve you well. It will propel you forward in all kinds of different walks of life, but especially in academia. And so I hope everyone else thinks about that and leans in and maybe learn from these folks, but let's celebrate what they've done and keep doing what you're doing.
Yep. Right, and for the other students in the room and online who want to join the club, we are starting our cycle of student opportunity soon. You heard from Tong earlier about the competition. Just for this year, we will be doing outreach to grades 6 to 12 students as well as the general public quarterly throughout the year. So we are inviting the member institutions. If you have an event, that you would like us to participate in, we are inviting the undergrads and the graduate students to actually work with us as facilitators at those events. And I think the wonderful thing, you heard about it earlier, is we will train you in the content, we will train you in science communication, and of course you get that experience when working with us as well, and we will pay you a stipend and your travel expenses. The REU program for this coming year, we usually run about 10 weeks, from around next year, it will be 25th of May to the end of July. Of course, it depends on your institutional sort of calendar. You heard earlier that, we worked with Makayla to make that calendar work. UCLA, the REU students we have there follow a different calendar. We will be hosting the students again across different sites this year, so it won't all be at one site. NRAO, Notre Dame, Puerto Rico, Mayagüez, probably going to have 1,000 applications for that one. So the mentoring, you've heard from the students again how important that mentoring is, how much they enjoyed the mentoring that they received, the research they got to do, and then, as well as the professional development opportunities, including coming to SpectrumX meetings and being able to network with folks and to present your summer research. Again, we cover your expenses as well as, giving you the stipend. And then there's the Summer School for Wireless, led by the fearless Maria Zheleva, which we will hold. Feedback from the last group of summer school students said late summer, before semester begins, great time. That runs over 3 days, 4 days. Oh, it's going to be 4. We'll see. Is it really 4? I just blocked it out. 4 days. And so, that will be at Albany, NRAO, and we're looking for 2 other host sites. There are several travel grants available for students who want to participate next year. And then in closing, that brings me to the host site opportunities. These calls will be coming through the membership, all your emails, as well as the SpectrumX transmission, weekly transmission. I'm like, transmission. But I'll also, as I have been already hitting up some of you one-to-one. So we're looking for institutions who have high quality and visibility, sort of public and school events that would like us to do outreach at those events, help us recruit the facilitators, provide logistic support, if we're hosting something on your campus. The REU program, host sites, we ask that you host a minimum of 2 students as far as possible. George Huber at CU Boulder was, just an absolute exception. He was on his own, but we like to have them in a cohort of 2 students. And of course, we need administrative support from your institution to make sure that they have access to everything that they need and that they get paid on time. And then we'll be focusing quite a lot on pre and post event evaluation this year. And then finally, the summer school for wireless. We ask that you provide a venue on your campus or elsewhere in your city or town, that you help us recruit and manage the facilitators who are grad students and trained up by Maria, that you help us with on-site logistics support. So, just that you keep an eye on the grad student to help them out with catering and whatever needs to be arranged. And just to say that there is budget available, obviously to support that event on your campus, and that will include indirect costs as well. So that was a lot of information from all of us, but if you would like to get involved, this is for, connection for both students as well as faculty and institutions here. Please use this QR code. It will be on the slides and it will take you directly to a business card with my email address on it. And that brings us to the end of the session. Thank you very much, everyone, and thank you again, family.